Over the past few weeks, I tried my best to organize my woodshop and failed miserably. Today's episode is gonna be all about the experience and the insane explosion of followers I've recently received on Instagram. In the last episode, we finished a big road trip to deliver a custom piece of furniture. When we got back, we were tired, exhausted, and not surprisingly, I found it really hard to get back into the swing of things. On the first day, I remember stepping into the garage with my partner. We walked in, I turned on the lights, and just started looking at everything. Suddenly, my partner said, "You know what? What if we just spent the month of February organizing the shop?" Now that was one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard. Later on, I asked him, "Why did you suggest that?" And he said, "Well, you let out a really big sigh and had this extremely sad look of defeat. Plus, I know that organizing the shop is something you've always wanted to spend some time on." So yes, he is amazing. This also made me realize how terrible I am at hiding my emotions. We calculated the year's projects out, and even though financially everything will be really tight, I felt like this was something I needed to do, at least for my own happiness and well-being. So I got to the drawing board, and this was my plan. Make an accessory wall for my clamps and most used tools, upgrade my dust collection system, finish my miter saw station, make a sliding platform for my CNC machine, make an under the table saw cabinet, make a drill press tabletop, and yes, the list does go on and on. If you've been following my short videos, you probably already know I did not finish a single thing. The only thing I did finish was set up my router table, and it wasn't even on the list. I just started working on it because it was on the way. I got distracted, reasoned with myself that I wanted to set it up anyways, and boom, it was done. But I did get close to finishing one thing, and that was my sliding accessory wall. This wall currently holds all of my clamps, and in the future it'll also hold my glues and pencils. Because it can slide, I get to open it up whenever I want to enjoy the sun, and whenever we need to film, I can just close it back up and we'll have more control of our lighting. I had many questions as to why I set up my clamps the way I did, so I'll briefly go over that. The most commonly suggested solutions to my clamp organization were magnet strips, putting something in front of them so they don't fall forward, putting the shelf at an angle, clamping them with another clamp, and hanging them up top. I totally get the logic behind all of these suggestions. In addition, I'd also spent quite a bit of time looking at all the beautiful pictures of clamp organization on the internet. And while these are all solid ideas, I still felt that this lower shelf style resonated with me the most. Whenever I reach for clamps, I usually need them right away. I'll typically reach for and grab multiple at a time, and because I'm so impatient, any additional hint of resistance was probably just going to annoy me. I'm also admittedly shorter. Reaching for things above my head isn't something I want to do all the time, especially with these big Bessie clamps. And having worked in wood shops with clamps organized in some of the ways I've already mentioned, I decided to bet on my instincts and go for this lower shelf style with no front support and with bumpers on the side. After using them in my regular workflow and giving them a few stress tests, it's working out great, and they've been behaving quite well. If there was one more project I would have really wanted to get done, it would have been the dust collection duct system. I have actually already created an entire plan for it, and boy was it going to be amazing. If I think about it too much, I do get a little irritated that I didn't get to start it. Right now, I'm working off of one flex hose that I pull pretty much everywhere in the shop. Not only would creating the duct system save me a lot of time, but because of all the angles I keep putting my current setup in, the hose was actually ripped off by the wire. Luckily, it was just on one end, but I'm taking this as a sign that I need to work on everything sooner rather than later. So yeah, I don't know if all crafty people go through this kind of organizational crisis or if it's just me. But there are projects to work on and deadlines to meet. So it's time to accept where I am, work on it when I have extra time, and just keep going. Ooh, I forgot to mention, throughout this entire period of organization, I have also been working on a beautiful end grain cutting board. It measures 18 by 24, is made of walnut, has pyrography, and it's literally going to be one of the last cutting boards I make. I do have 2 more possible cutting boards in my queue, but you never know. And now I wanted to take a quick second to talk to you about the sponsor of today. Just kidding. I don't have any sponsors. But I did want to take a quick intermission to just say hi. I hope you're enjoying this and to let you know that I appreciate you for tuning in to these diary episodes. The other crazy thing that has happened these past few weeks is that my Instagram account has grown like crazy. According to my partner and the stats he gave me, in about 35 days, give or take, we grew from roughly 2,000 followers to 118,000, at least as of today. The mind-blowing part for us is that we weren't even thinking about Instagram. Our main focuses were on making authentic videos, being happy, replying to as many people as we can, and being consistent about it all. Up until this point, TikTok was really our best performing platform. So for Instagram to come out of nowhere like this, it felt like a big splash of water in the face. But so far, nothing has really changed. I'm not really making any income off of the social media platform themselves. I think to date, we've made $30, and I'm pretty sure 28 of that came from TikTok. The things that have changed are, number one, the amount of negative and positive comments I get. And number two, I am now finding it incredibly difficult to get to every comment. I've heard all the time that negative comments are a big part of social media, but it really feels different when it's happening to you. Some are rude, and some are outright nasty. From the beginning, I've done my best to try and get to every comment, but when I run into these, it really makes me pause and reflect for a second. Why? Why be like this? I would never talk to another human like this. But something I've also been seeing is that with every negative comment comes many more positive comments and people. These good, amazing, and very nice people make everything worth it. I feel appreciated for who I am, and I feel like I've been able to help, even if it's just a little bit. So yes, at the end of the day, I'll always try to comment back to everyone, even with the negative Nancy's, because it brings me here, talking to you in this diary format. These videos make me feel like I'm connecting with specifically all the positive ones, the people that have found something in my weirdness that they could resonate with. And I couldn't be more appreciative of being able to do that. So, thank you. And on that note, I want to move on to the final part of today's diary video, what I've learned throughout these past few weeks. 1. I have a tendency to over-expect. To have literally wrote out 10 different projects to work on and not finish any of them, I am definitely dreaming too big and not being realistic. And while it's not easy, I have to work harder at harnessing those expectations and taking everything one step at a time. I am a hard worker and can stay in the zone for hours. I have no doubt in that. So I gotta trust that part of me more and set up my expectations to work in harmony with that, not against it. 2. Social media really can explode at any second if you're consistent. I'm not a social media guru and I really don't know what I'm doing, but what I do know is that my partner and I have been very consistent. We pushed ourselves to do so and it has forced us to adapt and grow. Take for example, my speaking. I don't consider myself good at all. When I think about the podcasters and vloggers that I listen to while I work, I think that they are actually natural and very good speakers. Me? I'm learning as I'm going, but being consistent and showing up has really helped me grow in this area. There was a comment I saw once where someone said that they can tell that my confidence has been growing the longer I've been on the platforms. And in many ways, I'd say they're right. I remember the first time my partner suggested the idea of talking to the camera, I literally told him, no, I don't ever want to talk to the camera. And now? If I told the me back then that she'd be making long videos like this, I think she'd just get angry and rebel. And anyways, that all leads back to social media. I've always heard of accounts blowing up, but I never saw it for myself. And as of today, I think that as long as you stay consistent and you keep growing and adapting to how you feel you need to, you might really blow up. That pursuit of improvement will put you directly into the areas you'll personally think you need to work on. And staying consistent will give you a consistent amount of chances to go past whatever boundaries you might have. Now that I'm saying this, I believe this goes not only for social media, but anything that you're working on in general. So, keep on keeping on, everyone. And before I sign off today, I want to leave one question to you. What is something that you are working on? Whether it's a project, a goal, or whatever. I'm curious to know. I hope you enjoyed today's TED Talk, and I'll see you in the next video. Welcome to my post-show shoutout session, and I first want to say thank you so much. Creating these videos isn't easy, and the support we get from you, even just making it to this point of the video, means a lot to not only myself, but my partner as well. As part of our shoutouts for today, I wanted to call out the two newest members of my Patreon crew, Christian and Andrew. Thank you both so much for joining. And if you too are interested in supporting my woodworking and life journey, do consider joining my Patreon group where you'll get access to these diary videos before I release them. As always, I'm still working hard to keep making improvements everywhere, and our recent growth on Instagram has definitely made it a little harder to balance everything. But as we talked about earlier, consistency is the key getting past those boundaries, so we're gonna keep working hard, and I know that we will figure out more and more ways to deliver value and content. I don't know if there's anything extra at the end of this video, but I'm sure my partner is gonna try to whip something up. So yeah, thank you, and see you in the next episode. Peace out. Let me pull the skin off. Blah. 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 Personally, yeah. You gave me an eyebrow raise.